Heyo everyone, Hexi here. This week, I'm strapping on my big princess pants because we're talking about Lost Kingdoms. Now, Lost Kingdoms is a series developed by FromSoftware. I don't know if you've heard of them, and it was published by Activision Games. The series came out exclusively on the Gamecube in the years of 2002 and 2003, respectively. Now, in Lost Kingdoms 1, you play as Katia. You know that because that's the default name on the name entry screen. And you're totally gonna skip that and not bother to enter anything, right? I know you guys wouldn't name her something inappropriate. At any rate, Katia's a summoner. She uses a rune stone to summon various monsters using battle cards. Now, unlike a lot of games where you do direct combat, Lost Kingdoms doesn't have any of that. Instead, you have to rely on your monsters and your summons to fight for you. So you're gonna be running around the battlefield a lot trying not to get hit. As an evil genius, I can definitely relate to having evil henchmen do all your bidding. While you're fighting, you can summon these monsters that come in a variety of flavors. There are ones that stay on the field and fight for you. These ones are marked by a little running-like icon, which means they'll run around. And then there are monsters that'll pull off a cool cutscene attack and tend to attack in a designated pattern. For these ones, the general rule of thumb is to be near your opponent and facing them when you throw down the card. Like, check this out. There are also some utility monsters that can, like, heal your party and shit, like the fairies. The game includes elements of deck building with the randomly selected cards that you can collect. You can have a total of 30 cards in your deck at any one time, although there are checkpoints in the levels that allow you to add more cards to your deck that you find while playing the game. If that makes sense to you guys. Now, after each mission, you can visit the card shop to buy new cards, sell off old ones, evolve the ones that have gotten enough XP in order to do that, and rebuild your deck. Now, in Lost Kingdoms 1, whenever you get into combat, you get locked into a little grid square, and you have to fight all the monsters inside of it. This means that all of your summons only stay on the field when you're fighting. This will become relevant later when we start talking about the sequel. Also during combat, you're able to break open barrels and chests and find all sorts of little shortcuts. And if you don't break them open during combat, then you're just gonna miss out on opening up those secret pathways. For whatever reason, this game really hits me with the old FromSoft charm when it comes to environmental designs. Even though the game's played from a mostly isometric angle, which means that the interiors don't have any roofs, the details that are there really hit me with that old school Dungeons and Dragons playing in your mom's basement feeling that Demon Souls made me feel. Heyo guys, Editor Hexi here. And I just felt like it was important to add in that I'm pretty sure I got the first game while on a trip somewhere. So I just have like warm fuzzy memories of playing this game while in a hotel room. You know, sat cross-legged on the floor and with the Gamecube plugged into whatever available aux cables were exposed on the TV, because all TVs had aux cable holes back then, right on the front. So that could also be part of why I have such a fond feeling for this game, but yeah, it definitely has that dingy atmosphere that just makes you feel like you're on a pen and paper adventure. Now in Lost Kingdoms 2, one of the first things I noticed in that game was that the combat isn't broken up into loading zones like in the first game. This means all of your summons stay on the screen until they run out of HP. This means that sometimes they can wind up dying prematurely because they got stuck on like some scenery somewhere and couldn't find their way to the battlefield. And no, there's no way to teleport them to you. Also, there were several times when I was trying to open a chest and I just wasn't close enough to it. And the game interpreted that as me trying to summon a card, so I wound up wasting a monster. The second game also includes voice acting, though I'm not entirely convinced that that was a good idea. Here, check this out.
Another successful operation for the Band of the Scorpion, thanks to you. Hey, what did I say? Confound that girl! She won't even accept thanks.
Also, instead of playing as Katya in the second game, you play as Tara Grimface, which sounds pretentious and edgy as all get out. Anyways, guys, I hope you all had a good time with this little dive into Lost Kingdoms 2. I know it's not the most in-depth review, but I'm hoping you guys will go and check it out for yourselves. At any rate, guys, that's all I've got time for this week. Ciao for now, and Hexi out. Thanks go out to my Patreon supporters. Your donations mean the world to me, and I thank you for supporting my future endeavors.